In the quiet valleys, a river flows through the heart of the mountains. A young swordsman stands in the water, determined to prove his worth. He unleashes a massive wave, declaring it's his turn to show his power. His fishing technique is a little overkill, to say the least. With his task complete, he gathers his prize, pleased with the results. He then rushes off, calling out a name as he leaps from the water, Yi Xian. Elsewhere in a hidden spring, a figure bathes in the tranquil steam. But from the shadows our boy watches, his presence still a secret. The woman, Yi Xian, suddenly looks up, sensing she is not alone. And without hesitation, she unleashes a defensive blast of pure energy. A torrent of energy erupts from the spring, aimed directly at the intruder. Panicked, our boy throws his hands up, desperately trying to identify himself. The blast misses, but the shockwave sends him flying through the air. Yi Qian, now armed with a blade of pure energy, orders him to turn away. He quickly obeys, kneeling on the ground and covering his face. But he can't resist a peek, trying to change the subject to his fishing haul. Now fully dressed, she greets him with a punch for arriving an hour early. She eyes him with deep suspicion, questioning his true motives for being there. He boldly proclaims his innocence, a paragon of virtue and respect. Yi Xian's furious expression shows she doesn't believe a single word of it. Yi Xian storms off in a huff, leaving our boy to breathe a sigh of relief. The scene shifts to a tranquil valley, a moment of peace before the storm. Later, he proudly carries his latest hunt, hoping to finally earn some praise. But his triumphant march is cut short as a strange scent catches his attention. He asks Yi Xian if she can smell it too, the unmistakable scent of blood. She points out the obvious, that he's literally carrying a carcass on his back. But he clarifies this is different, a scent he associates with demon slayers. Their debate is interrupted by a sudden fiery signal exploding in the sky. Realizing their village is under attack, they drop everything and sprint into action. They are running towards a scene of utter devastation, their home engulfed in flames. They arrive to find their home a slaughterhouse overrun by monstrous beasts. Wolf-like demons on monstrous mounts cut down villagers without mercy. In the chaos, one man makes a desperate last stand against the horde. He screams his defiance, ready to die fighting for his home. But his courage is no match for the demon's overwhelming strength. The pack closes in, a sea of glowing red eyes and snarling teeth. The warrior falls, his life ending as the demon mocks his weakness. With his last breath, he calls out a name, Yeqi. Yeqi watches in horror, screaming the name of his fallen friend, Li. And before the demons can react, a blast of pure energy rips through the air. The energy wave slams into the demon, a devastating opening strike. It's Yi Xian, her eyes burning with rage as she vows to make them pay. The demons just laugh, their leader making a crude and threatening offer. Unfazed, she draws back her bow, preparing another volley of energy. She unleashes a spray of energy arrows, piercing through several beasts at once. But their leader is undeterred, charging forward to claim her himself. He barrels towards her, his massive blade ready to strike her down. Yi Qian holds her ground, her expression a mask of cold determination. But just as the blow is about to land, Yeqi appears, blocking the attack. He roars with righteous fury, a sudden and convenient defender of women. Yeqi meets the demon's blade with a furious downward slash. The beastly leader lands gracefully, a wicked scythe in hand. He's impressed, noting their youth and unexpected level of power. Fueled by grief, Yeqi leaps forward, screaming his fallen friend's name. He unleashes a powerful wave of energy, a desperate attempt at vengeance. But the demon easily evades, mocking the boy's amateurish skills. Their blades clash, and Yeqi struggles against the demon's raw power. His sword strains under the immense pressure, threatening to shatter. Thrown back by the force, our boy is put on the defensive once again. He tightens his grip, refusing to yield in the face of impossible odds. Yeqi knows he's outmatched, admitting the demon's power far exceeds his own. The beastly leader mocks his failing grip, taunting the boy's inexperience. He preaches the law of the wild, where only the strong are meant to survive. Overwhelmed by the pressure, Yeqi is thrown completely off balance. The beast lunges forward, moving in for the final decisive strike. But suddenly a dark power awakens within Yeqi, his eyes glowing red. With newfound strength, he lands a devastating kick right to the demon's jaw. The force of the blow sends the beast flying, crashing into the distant rocks. Yi Xian can only watch in disbelief, stunned by his sudden power surge. But the demon leader rises from the dust, more enraged than ever before. Seeing her chance, Yi Xian prepares to re-enter the fight with a blade of light. But the demon leader is already standing over Yeqi's defeated body. He stomps on our boy's chest, pinning him with contemptuous ease. The beast declares the world now belongs to his race. The human era is over. He tells Ye-Qi to blame fate for being born in a time of ruin. Just then, another demon grabs Yi Qian, who cries out for help. Pinned to the ground, Ye-Qi can only reach out a hand in desperation. His face twists in agony, a silent scream of helplessness and rage. Surrounded by the pack, Yi Qian calls out his name one last time. And all Ye-Qi can do is watch, screaming her name back in utter despair. Pinned and powerless, Ye-Qi claws at the earth, roaring for them to let her go. The beastly leader mocks his attachment, grinding his heel into Ye-Qi's head. He smashes the ground beside him, mocking the boy's pathetic attempt at a demand. The sheer terror of his own helplessness washes over Ye-Qi's face. The demon continues his cruel game, daring the useless ant to even try. He laughs maniacally, promising unspeakable things will happen if he doesn't act. Our boy is left broken in a crater, the demon leader looming over him. With what little strength he has left, he can only whisper her name. Meanwhile, Yi Qian is restrained by two lesser demons with terrible manners. She struggles fiercely as one of the beasts begins to drag her away from the village. Suddenly, Ye-Qi is hurled through a doorway, crashing into a dark room. He slams onto the stone floor, his captors now restraining Yi Qian on a table. Her eyes widen in fear as she calls out his name, sensing something is wrong. The demon leader blocks the doorway, a menacing shadow over Ye-Qi's body. Bloodied and beaten, Ye-Qi forces himself up, demanding they let her go. But Yi Qian screams for him to stop, knowing he can't win this fight. Her plea is cut short as a demon brutally smashes her head onto the table. He claws his way forward, determined to keep his promise to protect her. But his heroic crawl is stopped short by a foot to the hand, classic villain move. Through tears, she pleads for him to stop, a strange energy radiating from her body. The other demons find their suffering hilarious, mocking their touching display of affection. With a brutal kick, the beastly leader sends Ye-Qi skidding across the floor. Our boy is sent flying, his body already broken and bloodied. The demon leader gloats, forcing Ye-Qi to witness his own utter powerlessness. His minions pin Yi Qian down, crudely deciding who gets which piece of her. Barely conscious, Ye-Qi can only manage to whisper her name in despair. Her desperate cries echo in his mind as his consciousness begins to fade. And then, his world fades into complete and utter darkness. In the abyss of his mind, he realizes she was always his protector, and he failed her. That same dark power awakens again, his eyes burning red with absolute fury. The demon leader's arrogance vanishes, replaced by a sudden primal fear. Pinned down, Yi Qian can only whisper his name, sensing the shift in power. Ye-Qi arises, no longer a boy, but a vessel for some ancient, terrifying power. The demons are stunned, their leader demanding to know what this kid has become. He can't comprehend how a mere human could possess the aura of a high demon. One of the minions, too arrogant to be scared, charges in to test this new power. But his blade is stopped cold, caught effortlessly by Ye-Qi's newly armored hand. The rest of the pack can only watch in horror, their confidence completely shattered. Another demon tries its luck, leaping in for a desperate strike from above. But Ye-Qi's expression is cold. The hunter has just become the hunted. He doesn't even need a weapon, landing a devastating blow with his bare fist. The demon staggers back, coughing up blood in utter disbelief. A monstrous aura erupts around him, the raw power of a true demon. The beast that broke him can only stare in horrified shock. The explosion of energy is so great, it's seen from across the village. A group of demon slayers sense the powerful aura and decide to investigate. The building itself can't contain the sheer force of his demonic transformation. Inside, the lesser demons are already dead, their bodies and weapons scattered. Ye-Qi pins the beast to the ground, the hunter now becoming the hunted. It desperately tries the "we're not so different" speech, hoping to save its skin. But Ye-Qi isn't in the mood for a heart-to-heart chat. He unleashes a storm of demonic energy, tearing the beast to shreds. With his enemy finally defeated, Yi Qian calls out his name in concern. She asks what's wrong, seeing the cold emptiness in his eyes. But the boy she knows is gone, replaced by a silent demonic vessel. He turns to face her, his body still twisted by the dark power. Desperate, she tries to remind him of who she is, to bring him back. He reaches for her, his monstrous hand a symbol of his lost humanity. For a moment, it seems he might harm the very person he fought to save. But the demonic light fades and he whispers her name, his consciousness returning. The borrowed power fades and Ye-Qi collapses into Yi Qian's arms. But his mind is thrown into a nightmare, a memory of betrayal and fear. He remembers being branded a monster, tied to a pillar by his own people. The villagers he once knew now scream for his blood, their faces twisted with hate. He desperately pleads his innocence, screaming that he's not a demon. But his pleas are met only with violence, a brutal punch to the gut. The man scoffs at his denial, accusing him of finally showing his true colors. To his horror, he sees his own hand twisting into a monstrous claw. He cries out for Yixian, his last hope in a world that is turned against him. His accuser grabs him, sneering that a killer deserves no help. The surviving villagers are consumed by rage, screaming for the death of the demon in their midst. A long-haired swordsman looks on coldly, vowing a slow death for some perceived betrayal. The mob's fury is directed at a single figure, bound and helpless before them, and the accused is none other than Ye Qi, who can't understand why his own people have turned on him. He's left tied to a post in the rain, promised an execution at dawn. Elsewhere, two new figures, a blonde woman and a muscular man, look down upon a distant village. The man seems annoyed, complaining that a group called the Wolves arrived before them. Night falls and Ye Qi remains a prisoner, his gaze lost in the moonlit sky. A figure approaches with a blade, questioning his peaceful stargazing on death row. It's Yi Xian, and Ye Qi almost seems relieved, welcoming an end if it comes from her. But instead of a final blow, her blade slices through his restraints. She turns to leave without a word, leaving a freed Ye Qi utterly bewildered. Her only answer is a sharp punch that sends him reeling back. Her eyes burn with a fierce, protective anger. She tells him that no matter what he becomes, he is still Ye Qi to her. He can only look down, haunted by the voices calling him a monster. Then, in a stunning reversal, she pulls him into a desperate hug. She tells him to ignore them, that she doesn't care if he's human or demon. Overwhelmed by her loyalty, he can only whisper her name in disbelief. And just as quickly, she shoves him away with a kick, calling him an idiot. Classic. She throws his bag at him, her words a harsh command to leave and never return. Her final plea is for him to find a safe place to live, far from here. And with that, she turns her back, leaving Ye Qi to face his exile alone. But their dramatic farewell is cut short by the village's self-appointed judge. The long-haired swordsman furiously demands why she would let a demon go free. Yixian stands her ground, reminding the man, Chu Chu, of their long history with Ye Qi. But Chu Chu's hatred runs deep, born from the day demons killed his trusting parents. Vowing not to repeat their mistake, he explodes into action to stop Ye Qi's escape. He closes the distance in an instant, unleashing a powerful, energy-infused kick. The blow lands squarely, sending our boy flying back with brutal force. Kaiyoshu presses his advantage, pinning Ye Qi to the ground with his sheathed sword. Pinned and helpless, Ye Qi desperately pleads for his old friend to believe him. But his words only fuel Chu Chu's rage, who refuses to be addressed by a monster. Yixian screams for him to stop, insisting he's making a terrible mistake. He silences her, declaring this is a personal matter between him and Ye Qi. He then unleashes a powerful blast of energy, aimed to finish the job. But the attack is stopped cold by a familiar, monstrous arm. Qiu Chu recoils in shock, feeling the overwhelming demonic aura firsthand. He wisely puts some distance between them, perhaps rethinking his life choices. Ye Qi rises, his voice dripping with sorrow, asking if his brother truly wants him dead. Kochu's face is a mask of pure hatred, declaring that all demons must die. Without another word, he launches himself at Ye Qi, ready to strike him down. Yixian desperately tries to intervene, screaming for them to stop the fight. But it's too late. Demonic flesh meets cold steel in a blinding flash of light. The resulting explosion of power sends a shockwave across the clearing. As the dust settles, Chu Chu is on one knee, struggling to catch his breath. He can't comprehend the power he just faced, wondering how this is possible. Suddenly, a new voice cuts through the tension, mocking his efforts. It's the duo from the cliffs, and the cat-eared woman dares him to pick on someone his own size. Chu Chu sneers, assuming Ye Qi's demonic backup has finally arrived. The villagers' fear curdles into a mob's fury, calling for the death of the traitor. Aisen turns to Ye Qi, demanding to know who these strange newcomers are. He frantically denies any connection, swearing to Yixian that he's never seen her before. Her muscular companion steps forward, roaring that none of them will escape today. He lunges with a devastating punch, energy crackling around his fist. But the woman stops his massive fist with one hand, leaving the great bull utterly stunned. Realizing their champion is outmatched, the other villagers decide to swarm her. She simply turns her back, completely unfazed by the blades closing in around her. Suddenly, a new warrior lands among them, sending the attackers flying with a single stomp. He scolds the villagers for their shamelessness, daring to attack a woman all at once. Yixian realizes with dread that these newcomers are far stronger than the last demon leader. The cat-eared woman draws a line in the sand, claiming Ye Qi as her prize for the day. But Ye Qi, ever the protector, begs her not to harm his former friends. Her companion just laughs, telling him to let the pretty lady handle his problems for once. Suddenly, a volley of energy spikes rains down, catching everyone by surprise. The attack forms a cage of light, trapping Ye Qi and his mysterious defenders. It's Chu Chu, who declares it's the perfect time to catch them all in one go. Yixian screams his name, begging him to stop this suicidal gambit. But his face is a mask of pure fury, determined to see this through to the end. A massive demon ambush formation erupts, trapping everyone in its powerful seal. The muscular man recognizes the trap, realizing they underestimated their opponents. But the formation has an unexpected effect on Ye Qi, causing him immense pain. He realizes the demonic energy is surging, forcing him to confront his own nature. The cat-eared woman finds her own spiritual power suppressed by the barrier. Her companion decides he's seen enough, preparing to unleash a powerful technique. He summons a colossal beast of pure energy, aiming to shatter the cage. The attack's aura triggers a traumatic memory for Chu Chu, a scent he can't forget. The muscular warrior barrels forward, putting all his strength into the attack. The energy wave crashes against the barrier, overwhelming the villagers outside. And with a single, overwhelming blow, the demon ambush formation is shattered. As the dust settles, Yixian desperately tries to heal a wounded Chu Chu. He's suffering from a severe internal wound, trying to hold on for reinforcements. The memory that haunts him resurfaces, the day he stood over his parents' bodies. He remembers his solemn vow to avenge their deaths, a promise forged in grief. He recalls the massacre, a lone survivor amidst the bodies of his people. A monstrous demon gloated over his parents' bodies, mocking humanity's weakness. The demon then turned its attention to the last survivor, the boy himself. We learn that 20 years ago, a demon star arrived, sparking a great war. Within years, the human race was pushed to the very brink of extinction. Humanity's last hope rested on 5 great formations, a final stand against the darkness. These 5 settlements are all that stand between humanity and total annihilation. The demon ambush formation is a specialized magic designed to restrain demonic power. The cat-eared woman admits her inexperience but vows she will not run again. As they flee, Ye Qi weakly pleads for them not to harm the villagers. The woman decides his fate, declaring she'll take the selfless boy as her slave. Her companion's jealousy earns him a swift kick as she carries Ye Qi away. As they travel, Ye Qi feels an unsettling sense of familiarity with his surroundings. They pause their journey to watch the sunrise under a strange, blood-red moon. Ye Qi, meanwhile, is stuck in a very awkward, very unwanted piggyback ride. He finally awakens in a strange new place, completely disoriented and confused. The muscular man reveals they've entered demon territory, a fact that shouldn't surprise Ye Qi. Ye Qi struggles, desperately insisting he's not a demon and demanding his freedom. He makes a break for it, refusing to be dragged into the heart of demon lands. His mind is set on returning, convinced Yixian and Chu Chu are waiting for him. But his rescuer scoffs, reminding him that those friends were about to execute him. He refuses to believe it, certain that Yixian would never truly wish him harm. His companion tries a different tactic, suggesting he embrace his new life serving their fox lady. Ye Qi's response is unexpected, arguing he's far too handsome for such a role. The muscular man just sighs, realizing our boy has completely missed the point. And for his cluelessness, he earns a swift, energy-infused kick from the fox lady herself. The kick sends Ye Qi skidding violently across the dusty ground. His rescuers look on, reminding him they didn't save him just to see him die. The fox lady pins him with her foot, demanding gratitude for her kindness. But Ye Qi spits back, questioning how a demon could ever understand such a thing. Her patience wears thin, her hand glowing with a menacing red energy. She makes a chilling threat. She'll go back and slaughter everyone in his village. And she makes it personal, vowing to start with the green-haired woman, Yixian. Meanwhile, back at the village, the survivors prepare for the next inevitable attack. Yixian anxiously asks an elder about the condition of her wounded friends. The news is grim. One of them is in critical condition, and the elders are desperate. The elder explains that Chu Chu survived, but forcing the formation alone has left him gravely injured. But his desperate move has weakened the village's defenses, leaving everyone vulnerable. His grim confirmation hangs in the air, a promise of more hardship to come. The story shifts to a dark and foreboding forest, deep within demon territory. They've reached the border, with Ye Qi still fighting against his energy leash. His threats of violence are met with cold indifference from his captors. The leash tightens, sending jolts of agonizing energy through his body. Her companion points out this is the 58th shock, but she insists he had it coming. Our boy can only scream as the punishment continues without mercy. But then the energy leash suddenly snaps, catching his captors completely off guard. Free from his bonds, Ye Qi taunts his captors, pretending a powerful ally has arrived. His demonic rescuers are stunned, wondering if he truly has human backup nearby. Suddenly, pillars of light erupt around them, mimicking another demon ambush formation. But it's a trick. Ye Qi has absorbed the leash's energy into his own demonic arm. He unleashes the stolen power in a blinding flash, using the chaos to make his escape. The Fox Lady realizes her mistake too late. They've been completely fooled. Ye Qi sprints away, mockingly thanking her for the 58 jolts of spiritual power. He vanishes into the forest as she screams in fury, vowing to kill the little demon. Her companion moves to give chase, but she stops him, sensing this is more complicated. Meanwhile, Ye Qi dashes through the trees, confident they'll never catch him now. His desperate escape leads him to the mouth of a dark, secluded cave. But from the darkness, a desperate cry for help echoes through the cavern. He freezes in disbelief, recognizing the voice as none other than Yi Xian. Inside, a wolf-like beast corners a terrified woman, vowing to tear her apart. Without a moment's hesitation, Ye Qi steps out of the shadows to intervene. He launches himself forward, landing a powerful blow right into the beast's side. The demon dissolves into smoke, its form crumbling as it curses him for interfering. The illusion of Yi Xian thanks him for the rescue, and he plays it cool, of course. But her expression shifts, her voice a sultry command for him to come closer. Utterly confused, Ye Qi can only stammer her name, sensing something is very wrong. The illusion of Yi Xian beckons him forward, her voice a tempting whisper. She continues her act, questioning his hesitation as he stands frozen. Still concerned, he asks if she's hurt, completely unaware of the trap. She invites him to see for himself, but he finally senses something is wrong. Before he can react, she leaps into his arms, thanking him for the rescue. She whispers that she now belongs to him, a promise meant to disarm him completely. Our boy is completely flustered, stammering as he falls deeper into the illusion. But then his expression hardens, the spell of the illusion suddenly broken. He shoves her back, his demonic arm glowing as he identifies her as a demon. The creature asks what he's doing, but Ye Qi is ready to end this charade for good. He lunges forward, refusing to let this demon tarnish Yi Xian's image. But the creature dodges with ease, countering with a powerful kick of its own. The illusion shimmers away, and the demon asks how he saw through its disguise. He boasts that with his power, seeing through such a simple trick was child's play. The truth is, he knew because the real Yi Xian would never be that nice to him. The demon's true form emerges, a being of pure red energy, impressed by his insight. It then reveals its final form, a massive floating eyeball, thrilled to have found a worthy opponent. Ye Qi can only stare in shock, demanding to know what this creature is. The creature floats closer, taking offense at being called a thing. It then seems to ponder his words, finding his reaction strangely amusing. Ye Qi demands answers, but the creature just laughs off his attack as useless. It retaliates with a blinding barrage of energy beams, striking him from all sides. The cave is filled with light as the attack ricochets off the stone walls. He's shocked to find the creature is solid, not just an illusion of light. But a crack appears on its surface, and Ye Qi smirks, realizing his punch did land. His confidence returns, ready to face whatever this strange demon throws at him. But the eyeball rises again, its aura pressing down with overwhelming force. Meanwhile, his former captors are still searching the forest for their runaway prize. The Fox Lady scoffs at the idea of ghosts, refusing to be bluffed by old legends. Her companion compliments her choice, saying she has a good eye for talent. The Fox Lady explains that inside the formation, she sensed both demon and human auras from Ye Qi. Her companion explains that demons can only imitate a human aura, a simple illusion. But Ye Qi's human aura was real, even when his demonic power was sealed. The Fox Lady realizes the shocking truth. The boy is a half-demon. Her companion praises her insight, and she plays it cool, pretending it was obvious all along. He then begins to recount an ancient legend he's only heard in stories. The story tells of two separate worlds, human and demon, once divided by space and time. But a rare bloodline exists, a half-breed that can master the powers of both realms. These beings are the source of legends, capable of bending time and space itself. At their strongest, they possess the terrifying power to rewrite history itself. But the Fox Lady scoffs, insisting the boy's looks have nothing to do with destiny. Meanwhile, Yechi is trapped in the cave, bound by a strange light and cursing his luck. He screams his denial, but the creature insists only a half-demon could see its true form. It reveals a shared heritage, admitting Yechi has finally earned its full attention. But our boy just wants to go home, demanding to be freed from this strange prison. The eyeball scoffs at his impatience, reminding him that he can't just leave. It then makes an offer. Forget the past and journey to the heart of demon territory. When questioned about his arm, Yechi insists he was framed. A likely story. The creature finds his excuse laughable, pointing out the obvious flaws in his logic. And to prove its point, it unleashes a sudden, punishing blast of energy. The eyeball reveals its spell, a high-level technique for surveillance and detection. It replays his past, showing every time he relied on demonic power to survive. Yechi demands to know how a demon can wield human magic and know his entire life story. The creature simply boasts that its knowledge is absolute, covering all demons and humans. Deciding words are useless. It unleashes a torrent of energy to show him the truth. A new, more powerful formation is cast, meant to reshape his entire worldview. Yechi finds himself in a strange, ethereal space, completely disoriented. He's standing on a battlefield, surrounded by the corpses of countless demons. The sheer scale of the slaughter leaves him utterly speechless. And at the center of the carnage, a young cat-eared girl is crucified, a grim monument to the dead. Through tears, the girl begs her unseen allies not to save her. A hail of projectiles ends her life, a brutal execution in the middle of the battlefield. Yechi watches the scene unfold, completely stunned by the cruelty. Her head slumps forward, her life extinguished before his very eyes. Two soldiers emerge from the smoke, one complaining he killed the bait too soon. Yechi's mind struggles to process the truth. These killers are human. The vision shows them as demon slayers standing over their many victims. He questions how this is possible, wondering if the eyeball creature orchestrated it all. The soldiers boast of their kill count, casually discussing their bloody work. They reveal their mission was to kill the little one to cut off the demon's root. Yechi watches in disbelief, questioning if these ruthless killers are truly human. The eyeball creature confirms they are, and far more pure-blooded than he is. He realizes with a jolt that this vision is from 16 years ago, during the Great War. The creature tells him this is a piece of history he must witness, not another trick. Yechi demands to know if they're going to kill the girl, but the creature is silent. The soldiers are suddenly distracted, turning their attention to a new disturbance. Yechi's eyes widen as he's forced to watch another scene unfold. A massive wolf-like demon leaps into the fray, clutching a small child protectively. It lands before a human warrior who mocks the beast for lacking spiritual power. The demon snarls, shielding the child as it condemns the humans for their cruelty. The human warrior declares that every demon must die, holding a child hostage to prove his point. The other soldiers laugh, casually suggesting they mutilate their captive even further. The eyeball creature asks Yechi if he can still tell the difference between humans and demons. It then dares him to step in and help the victims if he feels so strongly about it. But it reminds him they are just spectators, as no one can change history improbably. The creature is stunned to see Yechi's arm absorbing the energy of its historical field. Yechi channels the stolen power, refusing to remain a passive observer in this nightmare. The eyeball can't believe he's using its own power to merge with the space-time domain. In the vision, the wolf demon apologizes to the child, knowing he can't protect her any longer. But the little girl's expression hardens, declaring she's tired of playing the victim. The human warrior drives his blade into the fallen demon, screaming for its death. He moves with blinding speed, a blur of righteous fury. A torrent of golden energy erupts, meant to tear the demon's soul apart. His face is a mask of cold hatred, convinced of his own justice. But Yechi appears, his demonic arm ablaze, declaring he can't just stand by and watch. The eyeball creature is stunned, realizing the boy has hijacked its power to enter the past. The human soldiers are baffled, wondering what kind of demon is immune to their magic. Yechi stands firm, telling the wolf clan to retreat while he holds the line. His arm burns with borrowed power, a beacon of defiance in a forgotten war. The power surges, twisting his arm into a weapon of pure demonic energy. He turns to the wolf demon, asking if he and the child are all right. The little girl peeks out from behind her protector, her eyes wide with wonder. His determined form is reflected in her gaze, a strange and unexpected savior. Meanwhile, in the present, his captors realize they've lost their prize. But the Fox Lady feels a strange connection, a sense that she's met him before. Back in the past, the wolf demon thanks him profusely for the timely rescue. Yeqi plays it cool, but his mind races, wondering if this child is demon royalty. He can't resist teasing the little princess, completely forgetting he's in a war zone. The wolf is overjoyed, but Yeqi tries to clarify he's not one of them. But the demon insists he stay put, revealing that reinforcements are on the way. He urges the wolf demon to save the others, pointing to the ongoing battle. But as the smoke clears, he finds himself alone, calling out to his unseen guide. His vision blurs, the world around him fading into an incomprehensible haze. The eyeball creature realizes its mistake. Yeqi has drained too much power from the formation. The vision shatters, dropping him into a dark, unfamiliar forest under a sky of crows. From the shadows, a pair of weary, unsettling eyes watch him from the darkness. An old woman emerges, cradling a small child and muttering about its cursed fate. She abandons the infant in the grass, blaming it for being born into a heartless world. The eyeball's voice returns, explaining this is another memory, this time from 17 years ago. He spots the woman and the abandoned child, a grim scene playing out before him. An old man with a gnarled staff discovers the child, his expression grim. But he too turns away, leaving the infant to its fate in the desolate field. A hand reaches down, a silent offer in the cold, lonely night. The baby is left alone on the path, another soul abandoning him to the darkness. Yeqi points out the cruelty, unable to believe someone would just throw a child away. The eyeball creature calmly reassures him that the baby is perfectly fine. But Yeqi looks back at his guide, a terrible suspicion dawning on his face. His eyes narrow as the pieces of the puzzle begin to click into place. And then it hits him with the force of a physical blow. That abandoned child is him. The creature confirms his fears, congratulating him for not being a complete idiot. The truth is too much to bear, and Yeqi screams his denial into the darkness. But the creature scoffs, throwing the hypocrisy of the human race back in his face. It challenges his worldview, asking if he can still call humans the innocent victims. He has no answer, his entire identity now thrown into question. The vision continues, showing the moment two men decided to take the abandoned child back to their village. An elder holds the infant, giving him the name Yeqi to mark the day he was found. Back in the present, he begs the creature to tell him who he truly is. The creature offers a single path forward, a convenient quest that might just help it escape. The weight of his past settles on his shoulders as he processes this new reality. But instead of accepting the quest, he just bolts, leaving the eyeball utterly baffled. The eyeball creature warns him that with his current power, he'll die long before he reaches his destination. Realizing the truth in its words, Yeqi swallows his pride and begs to be taught. The creature explains his true power, the ability to absorb and wield the energy of others. It offers him a set of techniques perfectly suited for his unique body, but with a catch. Yeqi's mind jumps to the worst conclusion, refusing to trade his body for power. For his wild assumption, he earns a swift punch from the very offended eyeball. The deal is simple. It will teach him, but he must take it along on his journey. Yeqi considers the offer, weighing his desperation against the creature's mysterious motives. Sensing his hesitation, the creature sweetens the deal, promising to make his training effortless. But Yeqi rejects the offer, declaring he'll earn his strength the hard way without any shortcuts. The creature sweetens the deal further, offering him techniques and treasures. And just like that, all his pride vanishes as he bows, calling the eyeball master. But the creature warns him that its training will be anything but easy. Suddenly, the cave erupts in a storm of lightning, catching Yeqi completely off guard. His body is racked with pain as the eyeball orders him to endure the trial. It reveals this is the first lesson, a technique to refine the body through suffering. The method involves infusing the body with raw elements to transform his spiritual power. While dangerous for humans, his half-demon nature makes him the perfect test subject. Yet Tai can only scream as his body is overwhelmed by the sheer force of the energy. The eyeball watches on, suddenly wondering if it might have overdone it just a little. The eyeball creature can only watch in shock as the energy surges uncontrollably. But the lightning isn't destroying him, it's being absorbed by his demonic arm. He grits his teeth, channeling the raw power through every fiber of his being. The eyeball is stunned, realizing the boy has absorbed a terrifying amount of energy. And it realizes with a jolt that this is only the very first stage of the trial. The creature can't help but feel a thrill, wondering just how powerful he might become. With its work done, the creature departs, leaving Yeqi to absorb the formation's power. The trial shifts, and he's now engulfed by a torrent of pure water energy. He struggles to his feet, fighting against the crushing pressure of the new element. His face twists in agony, his body pushed to the absolute breaking point once again. But through the pain, a look of pure, unyielding resolve hardens his face. The pressure becomes too much, and he collapses with a final, agonized cry. His body convulses on the stone floor, pushed far beyond its natural limits. But he rises again, surprised to find himself completely intact after the ordeal. The elemental energy now crackles around his demonic arm, fully under his control. He stares in awe, feeling the raw power coursing through his transformed body. His new master returns, admitting it's impressed by his rapid progress. It even offers him a gift, claiming it can't have its disciple looking so shabby. But the creature suddenly plummets to the ground, its light fading rapidly. Yeqi realizes his master used all its power, leaving it looking like a sad, glowing banana. The creature mutters about needing a host, its only path to survival. Yeqi holds up the limp creature, completely confused by its request. The eyeball then clarifies that Yeqi is the only suitable host available. He immediately rejects the offer, refusing to become a puppet for anyone. The creature lays on the guilt, reminding him it sacrificed everything to teach him. His conscience gets the better of him. He can't just be an ungrateful jerk. The creature decides to play up the pity, despite its low opinion of Yeqi's looks. Its form begins to dissipate into smoke as it cries out its final words. Yeqi relents, allowing it to be a parasite but setting some very firm boundaries. With the deal struck, the creature thanks him for having at least a little bit of a conscience. The creature announces it's beginning the fusion, and Yeqi braces for impact. It cackles with glee, thrilled to finally be free of its ancient prison. Yeqi looks less than thrilled to be called a good container, clearly not a fan of the new roommate. The creature dives forward, engulfing our boy in a torrent of golden light. But something goes wrong. The creature is shocked to find Yeqi's body rejecting it. The conflicting energies erupt in a massive, uncontrolled explosion. The shockwave ripples across the mountains as a new day dawns. Elsewhere, the fox lady and her companion sense the familiar, powerful aura. Recognizing the energy from the ambush formation, they race to investigate the source. Meanwhile, Yeqi is swept away by a powerful current, his fate completely unknown. He washes up on a rocky shore, the explosion's aftermath still settling around him. His expression hardens as he tries to make sense of what just happened. He calls out for his master, wondering if the fusion ritual was a success. But the only answer he gets is a small, one-eyed frog wearing a tiny bow tie. He stares down at the creature, which can only offer a pathetic croak in response. Annoyed by the interruption, he tries to kick the strange amphibian out of his way, but the frog screams for him to stop, revealing it's his master in a less intimidating form. It tries to prove its identity with a smile that is anything but reassuring, yet she can only stare in disbelief, demanding to know how this transformation happened. The creature internally admits the fusion failed, but tells Yeqi it's for his own good. After all, a parasite would just get in the way of his love life. Yeqi decides to believe his master's excuse, praising its supposed thoughtfulness. With dawn breaking, he prepares to head for demon territory, questioning if his tiny master can keep up. He places the frog on his shoulder, complaining that a cat would have been a much cooler companion. The frog retaliates with an angry lick, blaming Yeqi for its current predicament. Suddenly, his master senses an approaching presence, telling Yeqi he's on his own for this one. Elsewhere, his former captors arrive at the scene, confused as the powerful aura has vanished. The fox lady's instincts flare, sensing that something isn't quite right. They peer through the bushes to find their target attempting a very clumsy escape. She steps out to block his path, confronting him for his less than flattering choice of words. But Yeqi rises, his arm crackling with newfound power, declaring he's not afraid of her anymore. But his newfound confidence is met with a brutal, energy-infused slap. She unleashes a forbidden technique, engulfing him in a storm of fiery energy. Her companion can only watch, certain the kid is about to be beaten senseless. After a long night of torment, they finally arrive, dragging a defeated Yeqi behind them. His master congratulates him on absorbing the attack, but Yeqi feels thoroughly scammed. The frog insists it would never lie, a statement that's not at all reassuring. But their arrival is met by an unexpected welcoming party on the ridge above. A long-haired man greets the fox lady as Jouer, revealing himself to be her brother. But her eyes fall on two of her subordinates, bound and held captive by his side. Her expression hardens into pure fury as she demands to know why he's taken her people. Her brother smugly explains he had to discipline her servants for their silence. But Jouer stands firm, demanding he release her people immediately. He insists he's just trying to replace them, but she knows he just wants spies. He reveals his true ambition, to usurp their father's throne and marry her off for political gain. His lackeys cheer him on, declaring his ascension is what the people want. Nearby, the muscular man asks Ye Qi why he's just watching his new friends get pushed around, but he quickly decides it's a family squabble and not his place to interfere. Hiding in the bushes, Ye Qi's master suggests this is the perfect time for a heroic rescue. The frog scolds him for his cowardice, demanding he act like a man for once. And so, the tiny amphibian leans in to whisper a cunning plan into Ye Qi's ear. Joer fires back, accusing her brother of trading her away for his own political future. He scoffs at her words, dismissing her as a child who doesn't understand the world. With a condescending command, he unleashes a wave of ice shards to force her compliance. But Joer stands her ground, bracing for the impact of her brother's attack. Suddenly, Ye Qi steps forward, calling out the shamelessness of grown men bullying a girl. He plants himself between the siblings, ready to play the unlikely hero. Joer is less than grateful, wondering why the guy she just beat up is trying to save her. Her muscular companion watches with a smirk, wondering if the kid is bluffing or has a death wish. One of the brother's lackeys explodes with rage at the slave's disrespect. He launches himself forward, aiming to put Ye Qi in his place permanently. Joer turns back in alarm, screaming for Ye Qi to watch out. But her brother simply walks past, his attention fixed on his new target. He smirks, deciding to make an example of this upstart to teach his sister a lesson. We see a vision of one of his victims engulfed in flames, crying out in agony. Her desperate pleas for help echo, a testament to the brother's cruelty. But the brother's smug advance is cut short by a sudden, unexpected intervention. Ye Qi has caught the attacker by the throat, effortlessly ruining the guy's whole day. The brother can only stare in disbelief, his arrogance completely shattered. Even Ye Qi is confused, but his master explains the power now coursing through him. The combination of heavenly thunder and demonic absorption proves too much for the lackey to handle. He casually tosses the smoldering husk aside, remarking on his handiwork. Joer's brother can only stare at the remains of his loyal follower. His shock turns to rage, wondering if this is the new champion his sister has found. But Ye Qi is just faking it, internally screaming while his master urges him on. The frog reveals its theory. Ye Qi's bloodline is far superior to the Fox clan's. All he has to do is reveal his true aura, and their own hierarchy will protect him. Taking the advice, Ye Qi unleashes his full power, a torrent of blue energy erupting around him. His eyes burn with a confidence he's never felt before. The remaining lackeys can only stare in abject terror at the sudden power shift. Even Joer's brother is forced to admit this newcomer's strength is the real deal. Seeing this overwhelming power, Joer's brother wisely decides to call it a day. But Ye Qi is panicking, telling his master he can't maintain this bluff for much longer. The brother offers a formal greeting, acknowledging Ye Qi's power but making it clear he's not welcome. This sudden shift to polite dismissal leaves our boy completely baffled. He asks his master for a new plan, complaining that this guy doesn't fight fair. Suddenly, a powerful voice echoes across the ridge, scolding them for mistreating an honored guest. The lackeys recognize the voice, realizing it's a long-distance message from their father. The brother quickly changes his tune, offering to personally escort their new guest. But the king's voice cuts him off, ordering someone else to serve Ye Qi instead. Humiliated and overruled, the brother can only clench his fists in silent rage. With the confrontation over, Joer rushes to check on her newly freed subordinates. Her brother smirks, mockingly crediting her seductive talents for her good fortune. Joer's fury ignites, warning him to watch his tongue before he says something he'll regret. He waves a dismissive hand, deciding to leave them to their reunion for now. But his own man's questioning earns him a swift, icy backhand for his insolence. The humiliated brother then orders his terrified lackey to investigate Ye Qi's origins. He stares at the mountains, wondering if this mysterious boy is part of his father's grand plan. Meanwhile, back in the human village, an elder receives grim news from the border. He stands over the wounded Choo-Choo, realizing the demons now know they're vulnerable. The elder can only tend to his fallen champion, the future of their village uncertain. The village elder's face twists in shock, a terrible realization dawning on him. A mystical third eye opens on his forehead, a vision of a grim future. Elsewhere, Ye Qi's master senses a distant ripple in the spiritual world. The frog smugly congratulates itself, taking full credit for the Save the Beauty plan. Ye Qi feels invincible, but his master knows he's just running on borrowed fumes. A new attendant arrives, the one the king assigned to serve their honored guest. Ye Qi finally admits there's a slight power gap, but his master isn't letting him off that easy. But the frog's own energy is spent, and it decides it's time for a tactical nap. It collapses into a crystalline shell, leaving Yeqi to fend for himself. Just then, Jewar approaches from behind, offering a rare and genuine thank you. Yeqi strikes a heroic pose, telling Jewar it was simply his duty as a man. His performance earns him a bone-crushing hug from her muscular companion. The big guy decides they're best friends now, dragging Yeqi off for a tour of the city. He waves off Jewar, but Yeqi points out a small problem. He's completely broke. His new friend happily declares that the tour is on him, and with that, he practically yanks Yeqi off his feet, rushing toward their destination. They arrive at a lavish establishment called the Charming Demon Building. Yeqi can only stare up at the sign, wondering what kind of place this is. His guide explains it's an exclusive club for the Fox clan and dares him to step inside. But his master's voice cuts through, reminding him to understand the situation before diving in. Inside, two beautiful demon attendants greet them with a sultry welcome. His new friend is immediately swarmed, while Yeqi looks on, realizing this is not his kind of party.